the Memphis Grizzlies, as I mentioned to you, coming off of the NBA All-Star break, is my favorite team in the NFL and in the NBA because they talk. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've adopted them because they talk. And they really don't have a leg to stand on talking because they don't have any championships, and their best player has completely, I will say this, completely let his team down.
That's fair.
Completely let his team down. He is not available. Your best ability in sports is availability.
True.
And Ja Morant is not available because for whatever reason, he hasn't hired his own private security. He's got to carry his own weapon around on the road, 5 a.m, and he's Instagramming, living it out. And he's not there. That said, in this day and age where everybody is like, hey, I'll go play with you. In this day and age where it's like, hey, let's swap jerseys after you kick my ass for 30 points. Hey, let's go have an all-star game where, we don't really try because we love each other. Kind of dig the Memphis Grizzlies. Talking the talk. And I just hope for their sake they can walk the walk when it comes down to it. And this week, Draymond Green went on his podcast and lit up Dillon Brooks again. Because Dillon's the one who's, would you say, the chestiest of them all in Memphis?
That's a good assessment.
Okay.
Yeah. He says it with his chest.
He says it with his chest. And then Shannon Sharp says it with his cardigan.
Yes.
That's the player who was involved in that moment. And so, boy, did Draymond light up Dillon Brooks for talking without a ring. And so last night, the Memphis Grizzlies, without Morant, took care of business against Golden State. And after the game, in which he also went, face-to-face with Draymond and tried to get Draymond teed up, Draymond didn't take that bait. This is what Brooks had to say after the game, and of course he was asked about Draymond.
What was the message that you had to Draymond?
That's what I do. I talk, and I told him, I told him that keep that mic. He's better at the mic than hooping. You know what I'm saying? So keep doing this podcast, keep blogging, keep doing this thing off the court. It's cute. It's fun for him.
It's cute.
and here's where Brooks has a leg to stand on. His leg to stand on is, hey, Draymond, yeah, you got all those rings, but in this here and now, early March, you're a blogger. You're a podcaster. Because guess what the Warriors aren't doing right now, certainly on the road? Winning and playing defense at all.
Yep.
You want to talk about a stunning fall on the defensive side of the ball. And I know they have injuries all season long, and I am not discounting the Warriors. As you know, I chose them to win it back-to-back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and so, I know it's not, I'm not, like sort of Monty Python, not dead yet. So, but here's a kid calling out Draymond Green for being a podcaster because the way that they're playing defense and the way that they're not winning on the road, Draymond reminds me of many of our representatives in Congress who seem to be spending time podcasting more than actually legislating and being serious about things. Because he's going on his pod, and which is very popular for good reason, because Draymond is going to be a heck of a broadcaster when he decides to no longer play and presumably go into the Hall of Fame, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So how does Draymond respond? This was him on the podium after the game.
Draymond, obviously, this, I guess, called a rivalry now, has obviously been heated on both.
It's not called a rivalry.
What's that now?
This a rivalry?
You want to call it that or no?
I mean, if you want to call it that, but I would disagree.
All right, well, whatever you want to call it. I guess,
it's a basketball game.
No worries.
Why don't you consider this a rivalry?
Because you have to, one team has to win, and then another team has to win. Then, that's what creates a rivalry. Not because one team gets up for you and talk like they can beat you and then not, that doesn't create a rivalry. Rivalries are created by you win, I win. And clearly, we won 4 times, and I think their organization has 0 championships, so I can't consider that a rivalry.
So when you say win, you ain't talking about in March. You're talking about.
I mean, anybody can win in March. Anybody can win in March. What that mean? I have a hard time getting out of my bed in March. What's the game in March mean?
That's pretty funny.
Great sound bites. Just great. And I have to, since we are in this world of sports talk, I have to side with Draymond.
Wait a minute, Rich, you're going to give him a 10-9 round?
I got to give Draymond a 10-9 round. Because the ring is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say, Dillon Brooks, keep your mouth shut, because clearly this is the fuel to his fire.
Yeah.
And they need him. Morant's out. Yeah. Steven Adams is getting stem cells shot into his knee. Give him the shot. It's stem cells right there in his knee. Jaren Jackson, one of the main tent poles of my fantasy team. God, do I love him. You know? Can Luke Kennard present that three-point outside shooting threat that only, I guess, Desmond Bane provides?
Yes, Luke Kennard can. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so this is what's happening right now for Memphis. So if Dillon Brooks has to keep yapping, then you keep yapping. You be you. But Draymond is absolutely right when it all comes down to it. What's the rivalry? You know, what's the rivalry? In that respect, who would be Golden State's rival?
You know, I thought
Milwaukee.
that.
You know, like
who
would it be? Is it Boston?
They played Cleveland.
Is it the Cavs?
4 years in a row in the finals? It felt like.
Yeah, but
that's a different
that
Cavs
was
team.
LeBron.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
come
not
on.
even the same squad.
So who in his mind would be considered their rival?
Well, they can't have one if he's going to just revert back to the championship argument, because if that's the case, then they have no rival, right?
Spurs, but that team's over.
Team's
they're all retired.
So
they're
they
all gone.
Technically don't really have one. If
But
you're
how
just going to
many
use the titles.
How many NBA teams actually have a rival? It's like the old rivalries. It's Celtics, Lakers, Celtics, Sixers.
I guess it's whichever team LeBron's on.
I guess, but they're not even good.
The Bucks have one.
But they didn't play Golden State in the finals.
Correct.
They beat Phoenix. I don't know.
Could it be Durant on Phoenix? I don't know if that exists. All I know is that I understand Draymond says a rivalry is if they win one and then we win one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But if Memphis and Golden State wind up playing each other in the first round of the playoffs, count me in. I'm there.
Rich, well, if the season starts today.
Is that what it would be?
They would. Memphis is the 3 seed by virtue of losing a tiebreaker to Sacramento.
Come on now.
And Golden State has the tiebreaker over the Timberwolves and Mavericks.
So I think whoever has that series, ESPN, TNT, NBA TV,
Let's
is like,
go.
Stop the count. Stop the count. Stop the count.
And this is a series where home court is probably going to play an advantage.
I don't know. I just have to believe that the Warriors will clamp down when the playoffs start.
I mean, you would think so.
Dude, they have the same road record as the worst team in the NBA, the Detroit Pistons, 7-26.
I can't imagine that's the way it's going to be late April. Just can't, because they are champions, and that's what Draymond's saying. Draymond's like, hey, I can't. Dillon Brooks is sitting there saying, okay, podcaster. And Draymond's response is like, I can't listen to the old Patrick Wallon. I can't hear you. I can't hear you through my rings. Yeah. Sorry, my rings are in my ears. I can't hear you.
And that's a good retort.
But great sound bites, gents. Keep them coming. I like it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.